Florida versus OpenAI, the fight to ID every ChatGPT user. And again, the demand reaches far past the children that the state says that it wants to protect. This is what's being done everywhere. The UK is doing this. Marsha Blackburn is doing it at the federal level. The state of Florida is doing it at the state level. We got to protect the kids. And that's why I said she is like some of the worst aspects of Hillary Clinton and Tipper Gore. Of course, Tipper Gore was going to have efforts to control the music. We don't know, the parents won't do their job, so we got to have the government do it for you. And we had Hillary Clinton famously saying it takes a village to raise your kids. Whenever you got nanny state government, which is really what Marsha Blackburn is pushing here, she wants to protect the kids. Florida wants to protect the kids, they say. Really? Well, then why don't you protect them from the Trump injection that is poisoning them? If you really care about the kids, start with that. Because the rest of this stuff, whether people have access, the kids have access to the internet, kids have access to phones, that's a parental responsibility. I don't want the village involved in all this. When the village comes in and says, don't worry, we'll protect your kids, that's when it gets really dangerous. It's much better for parents to say, well, that's my responsibility. That's my job. Don't try to take the jobs away from the parents. Marsha. When you're doing this, it is, it really is straight out of the Hillary Clinton playbook. Marsha Blackburn got national attention because she famously asked Ketanji Brown Jackson in the confirmation hearings for Supreme Court, famously asked her, what is a woman? Well, I would like to ask Marsha Blackburn, what is a parent? Why don't you respect parents? It's the same thing that you're talking about with Brown Jackson. She doesn't respect women. You don't respect parents. You don't think they can do their job. You're going to do it for them because you are the nanny of the nanny state. And they're doing the same thing in Florida as well. The state complains that the free product from ChatGPT has no gatekeeping, no age verification mechanism. It claims that the paid subscription has no mechanism to verify the age of its users, and it wants a judge to close that by ordering verification into place. Well, let's hope that they get a judge who realizes that the government should not have that kind of authority, does not have it, and should not have it.
Meanwhile, does this ever work for actually stopping minors from using it? It actually endangers minors and the adults that use it because their information is now at risk.
That's right. And so it's not going to stop it. It can easily be defeated. And the hypocrisy of this is beyond belief. Here's the state of Florida. Here's Marsha Blackburn. These people are presiding over institutions that are still injecting kids with this Trump bioweapon poison. And it's not just that. It's also the poison from the 72 standard injections that they're putting into kids. And they don't want to stop any of that stuff. So don't talk to me about protecting kids. The system already runs as a form of mass surveillance. It works by watching how you behave, by studying how long your account has existed, when you tend to log in, and how you use the product. Then it guesses whether or not you're under 18. Anybody that the model flags as a minor who is actually an adult has to prove it by handing a selfie or a government ID to a third-party firm called Persona. And of course, all that can get hacked very easily. We've seen that over and over again. We've seen the government's military database and personnel hacked. We've seen the CIA's hacking tools hacked. Everybody gets hacked with all this stuff.
And I don't know about this Persona company, but typically we see that the people giving big donations to the politicians pushing these laws through are connected to companies like this.
That's right. Yeah, maybe what we should do, because of the actions of the state of Florida and because of Marsha Blackburn, maybe we should start calling the GOP, instead of guarding our pedophiles, maybe we should call them the government of police, because it is a government of police state. So Marsha Blackburn is demanding that Kick, and again, this is not the Kick that we stream on, K-I-C-K. This is K-I-K. Verify the age of every user. I guess I'll call that, I don't know, how else would we pronounce that? Anyway, it is the scaffolding of a digital ID internet. That's really what this is about. And we're talking about a scaffolding. What Marsha Blackburn is actually doing is just playing a game of hangman in terms of a police state. And once she gets all the pieces in there, guess what? We hang the Statue of Liberty for Marsha Blackburn. She wants the video platform, KIK, to verify the age, and there is absolutely no way to do that without verifying everybody who signs up at the site. She sent a demand letter to the CEO and gave the company until June 19th to answer a list of questions about how it screens its users. Her letter follows a report from the National Center on Sexual Exploitation, which created a fake test account posing as a 12-year-old girl under the username I'm 12, be nice. Well, again, this is nanny state stuff. This is something the parents should be involved in. And because they think the government is going to protect them on this, it's like thinking that the FDA is going to protect your food and your drugs. She has also...
quote from, I believe, Ben Franklin of those who would trade security for freedom deserve neither, but we see over and over again those who attempt to trade it receive neither. They wind up less secure as well as less free, and that's exactly what this is. They don't believe it will make them any more secure, but that's their selling point. But in the end...
Well, it is a zero-sum game, isn't it? You know, security and liberty. And it's actually, I think it was Jefferson who said he prefers dangerous liberty. Yeah, liberty is dangerous, but I prefer it as well. But this is not her only rodeo here. She's done a lot of different things. And like I said, it's like a game of hangman. And she's building this scaffolding to hang us all. Her Trump America AI Act is a 291-page draft that was introduced back in March. I talked about it at that point in time. It would repeal this Section 230 entirely. That was a piece of legislation that said that the internet companies would not be responsible for things that people put up, whether you're talking about social media or something else. So they would not be the publishers of that. They would merely be the public square. And that's why I've said, and of course that was Dorsey's response to a lot of the questioning from the Democrats. He said, look, you know, this is, we are the digital public square. I said, that's right. And we already have a law that shows that even if the public square is privately owned, they can't take away free speech. But the government is constantly pressuring them, trying to turn them into deputies for the police state. And that's exactly the way Marsha Blackburn is coming after all this. So repealing Section 230 would expose platforms and AI developers to open-ended liability for reasonably foreseeable harms. Without Section 230 protection, platforms would face lawsuits for hosting user speech, and the rational business response is to remove anything that might attract one. So what they want to do is make them deputies. They want to make sure that they're going to force the social media companies as well as the AI companies to preemptively censor you and control you. She also sponsored the Blockbeard Act. Not Blackbeard. I guess she should have called it. Since she's Marsha Blackburn, she should have called it the Blackbeard Act. Piracy, really. Which would give the federal courts the power to order ISPs, search engines, and potentially VPNs to block entire foreign websites accused of piracy. A site blocking authority that the U.S. government has never held at that scale. So here she is. She's going full Chinese communist on us. It's the Chinese communists that are criminalizing VPNs. And Marsha Blackburn wants to do that. And she wants to give the government the ability to take down entire websites at large scale. So this is... I
remember seeing just a few months ago, the only 5 places in the world that had banned VPNs were China, North Korea, I think it was Russia, and then 2 other very obviously not places that you'd want to live.
But that's what Marsha Blackburn wants to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now it's a bunch of states have laws trying to prevent that.
That's right. We got a tyranny gap. We got to close that tyranny gap. Just like we got an AI gap, we got a moon race gap, and all the rest of it. Well, we got a tyranny gap. We got to close that. So it's a push towards an internet where users carry digital IDs, where platforms pre-screen speech, and the government can make websites disappear with just a court order. That's what Marsha Blackburn wants America to be like. That's what China already is.
And of course, how long until the next COVID, where we've got to stop all misinformation, like what happened with our show, where we got deplatformed off of just about everywhere.
Yep,
That will
and
be
shadow
now,
banned in the one place we stayed.
Yeah, it will no longer be the public-private partnership providing the front and the tip of the spear of that. It will now be actual government force of law enforced by police.
That's right. Yeah, we knew at the time that it was coming from the government. I said, it's the iron fist of government and the velvet hand of private ownership. And you had, people at Reason, you had John Stossel saying, yeah, I hate the censorship, but hey, we got to respect private property. It's like, you don't understand what's going on. I understand the principle of respecting private property, but you also need to have discernment to understand that's not what this is about. And now they're coming out and doing it in the open. And the person who is carrying Trump's water it's coming from the Trump administration, and it's coming from the Republican Party. And the person who has taken the lead, who's taken the point on all this, is Marsha Blackburn, who, by all odds, is going to be the next governor of Tennessee. It's a sad situation here. Blackburn signed the letter as chairman of the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on Privacy, Technology, and the Law. When her subcommittee is against privacy, it wants to use technology to take away your privacy, and she ignores a law, but she is the chair of this committee. It's like Trump's Religious Liberty Committee that kicked off the person who was actually trying to exercise a religious liberty, saying, I don't think it is attacking somebody's religion or attacking their race to say that I oppose the policies of the Israeli government. They said, well, you don't have the right to say that, so we kick you off of the Liberty Commission. It's just amazing what the Republicans are doing now. So again, this is Marsha Blackburn's push for a crony capital digital currency is also part of this. So she's got several different angles that she's coming at this. Going after VPNs, requiring people in the name of protecting the children. It's the Kids Online Safety Act, KOSHA. She's been a big sponsor of that, sponsoring the Blockbeard Act, and going after ISPs, search engines, and VPNs, if giving themselves the power to shut you down with an automatic kill switch, and pushing digital currency with the, that one was the Genius Act. The Genesis Act was another artificial intelligence empowerment act that she put out there, attacking the 10th Amendment. She absolutely despises the 10th Amendment, and she wants to be governor of Tennessee. Well, she wants to do that because she wants to run through this globalist agenda here in the state of Tennessee.
And I think it's that people like Marsha Blackburn get put in place in places like Tennessee to prevent the large percentage of patriots from actually doing anything.
That's right. That's right.
It's the same sort of thing we saw with Frank Nicely and that guy that had all of the funding from the sketchy corporations that had ties to Soros with all the attack ads against Frank Nicely.
That's right. You got a guy like Frank Nicely, and what he was doing was exactly the opposite of what Marsha Blackburn is doing. He got a bill passed to let you get ivermectin over the counter during the pandemic nonsense, and he was trying to set things up for the state to have a backup fund of gold and to help to establish gold as a medium of currency and various other things like that. He tried to stop out-of-state funding, and the Republicans wouldn't support him on that. And then they used out-of-state funding, like Lance just talked about, from all these Soros organizations, put a guy in who was an absolute cipher. There was no background for him personally, no background for him in terms of what he'd ever done in his life, in terms of work, who did he work for, what policies did he have? Nothing. Instead, what he did was he spent massive amounts of money with what was essentially fake ads attacking Nicely, showing pictures of Nicely hanging out with Joe Biden. The same stuff they did with Thomas Massey, by the way, showing him the threesome with AOC and somebody else. Anyway, just putting together
these
pictures. And
that was, of course, an AI-generated thing they did with a picture of the three of them together.
That's right. Yeah, they create this Photoshop or AI-generated stuff and use it to slander people. And they get away with it. It works because the American electorate is so uninformed about all the rest of this stuff. Well, I want to take a look at what is happening in the UK because it's exactly the same type of thing that we're seeing here. It's also happening in the UK. Self-Patriot, I want to thank you for the tip. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. He said, at least Caesar invited peasants for their bread and circus gladiatorial events. We get less bread while they get more circuses. Yeah, that's right. It absolutely is the case. Well, when we look at what is happening in the UK, Keir Starmer has put in a massive bill to ban social media altogether. Well, not altogether, but to ban social media for anybody under the age of 16, with the exception of one very left-wing website. He's announced an intention to implement facial recognition and digital ID. How do we get Keir Starmer and Marsha Blackburn on the same page? Well, the same way that we got Emmanuel Macron and Justin Trudeau on the same page as Donald Trump during the pandemic, because they work for the globalist agenda. Starmer has announced that he's going to have facial recognition and digital ID for kids to access, for everybody to access social media, and then they will use that to ban it for kids that are 16 and under. It's going to start early next year. The ban will be enforced using face recognition software that everybody will have to clear, as well as digital ID. This is the dream that Marsha Blackburn has, and she's working on this. Now, it's going to include Facebook, Instagram, X, Snapchat, TikTok, and YouTube. What it will not include is Blue Sky, because Blue Sky leans left, and they want the kids on Blue Sky. Isn't that amazing? Blue Sky is not any cleaner than any of these others. I mean, you can see all kinds of garbage on any of these sites that are going to get in there, all kinds of political stuff as well, but they want to make sure they like the politics of Blue Sky, so they're not going to ban that for kids.
I would wager that Blue Sky has a lot more pedophiles than these other ones, just to guess personally.
Well, I mean, they're going to be pushing gender transition to them. Tell me that that's not grooming, gaslighting, and pedophilia. But that'll be okay. It's just the other places that they don't want the kids to be. In real-world settings, the accuracy of facial recognition in sporting venues ranges from 36% to 87%, depending on camera placement. But that's not the issue. The issue is that they're using this to, quote, protect kids online. It's the same thing that Marsha Blackburn was doing with the KOSHA Act, Kids Online Safety Act. They almost use exactly the same name, but not exactly the same name, but it is the same agenda. It is all using the kids in order to get digital ID on everybody else.
They've declared these other websites not kosher.
That's right. It's not kosher. It's about censorship, control, propaganda, and those are always about politics and about power. They're not about protecting kids. And again, none of these people, even the people who are conservative Republicans who acknowledge that the vaccines are harmful, they won't stop the vaccines from being given to kids. They won't stop. As a matter of fact, you got RFK Jr., who just greenlit another $1.25 billion for more mRNA vaccines for kids and adults. It's absolutely disgusting what they're doing. And then they have the audacity to say they're going to try to protect the kids. Keir Starmer has been clear. We need to have a game changer to keep our children safe online. And what did Marsha Blackburn call it? The Kids Online Safety Act. Boy, isn't it amazing? You know, we got this radical leftist, we got this hardcore conservative, supposedly, and they are unified and pushing for a digital ID and shutting down the internet, using the internet for control, for propaganda, and to censor anybody who tries to get around that. We're going to take down your entire website just with a court order immediately. And of course, Keir Starmer is getting criticized in the UK for going even further than Australia. So here we have the leftists in Australia, we have the leftists in the UK, and we got Marsha Blackburn doing the same thing with Trump. Folks, you need to understand this left-right paradigm is there to control you. They don't have principles that are different. They just have different approaches to get to the same place. And so, as this article said, the government's going to go further than Australia. It's something of a horse race, isn't it? It's like they're racing each other to see who can get digital ID first. And it can come from the left or it can come from the right. But it really is a horse race. Well, I got the horse right here. His name is Paul Revere. That is, the globalists are coming. The globalists are coming. That's the true aspect of this. Well, again, if you think that it takes a village to raise a child, Marcia, you're no better than Hillary Clinton. The common man. They created Common Core to dumb down our children. They created Common Pass to track and control us. Their Commons Project to make sure the commoners own nothing. And the communist future. They see the common man as simple, unsophisticated, ordinary. But each of us has worth and dignity, created in the image of God. That is what we have in common. That is what they want to take away. Their most powerful weapons are isolation, deception, intimidation. They desire to know everything about us while they hide everything from us. It's time to turn that around and expose what they want to hide. Please share the information and links you'll find at davidknightshow.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. If you can't support us financially, please keep us in your prayers. davidknightshow.com.